This is Monday Morning Meditations, number 263 on the Rising Man podcast with Jeddy Azuma. It's all about hitting those checkpoints and never sliding back. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday morning to you. I hope you're doing well out there in the world. My name is Jeddy Azuma, and I've got another Monday morning meditation for you today. The topic for today's Monday morning meditation is how to hit life's checkpoints. All right. So I was jamming with my man Julian the other day. Julian has been a pivotal member of the Rising Man team since day one, over 5 years ago. And we were talking and reflecting on his life. We were talking about these moments that we have where I seem to be having the same lesson repeat itself and come back to me over and over. You probably had this feeling before too. How many times do I need to learn the same lesson? How many times do I need to experience the same letdown, the same breakdown, the same pain, shame, emotion of something not going the way that I envisioned it before I can finally start to do that part of my life differently? I'm sure we've all been there before. And when we were having this conversation, Julian equated it to that feeling you have in a video game. I don't know how many of you guys are gamers out there, but when you play video games, they give you this opportunity to hit a checkpoint or a save point. And sometimes there's a really difficult stretch of a video game where you're trying to get past a boss or a challenging part of the level, and you keep dying. You keep dying over and over and over again. And you keep regressing back to the same checkpoint, back to the same checkpoint. I've broken controllers, I've screamed and thrown temper tantrums as a kid when I had to keep repeating the same cycle over and over again. And eventually, sometimes it took days, sometimes weeks to get past these really difficult parts of video games. But the metaphor for that is so powerful when you look at that through the lens of our lives. How many times do we have to keep repeating the lesson over and over before it finally lands? And when you have that breakthrough moment where you hit the checkpoint, I've reconciled the boss, I cleared the level that I was on, and I made it to that checkpoint, the relief in the body, the feeling of, I accomplished that, I did that. I don't have to go back to that same familiar place anymore. I can now start my life, start my level from this new checkpoint. The reality of life is that we're going to hit those points where we take a step forward, but then we take a couple steps back. We take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and it feels like we're not making progress, but we are, because every single time I make an attempt at an obstacle or a challenge in my life, I'm gathering new data. Even if it feels like the same breakdown that keeps coming up every time I'm in a new relationship, every time I'm proposing a new business idea or a new concept for a product that I want to make, whatever it is that we're talking about, and I keep running up against the same breakdown, each time I'm gathering new evidence. Each time I'm learning something that ultimately, regardless of how many attempts it takes, is going to help me break through. The key ingredient in making sure that I can keep hitting those checkpoints, even if I slide back, I'm going to keep hitting those checkpoints, is to persevere. It's that determination that I've already seen the outcome as an inevitability. So if I fall, I rise again and I take another shot. If I mess up, I rise again and I take another shot. If I fail a third, a fourth, a 500th time, I gather that data, see what I have to learn, and take another attempt at it. It doesn't matter how many times I slide back. It doesn't matter how many times I regress back to the checkpoint. How many times I have to start over again from the same spot that I've been, because every single time I'm learning and gathering something new. It doesn't feel that way. It certainly doesn't feel like progress in the moment when I have to keep starting over from the same spot, but it's never the exact same spot, because each time, even if it ends in failure, I've still learned something that's going to help me for my next attempt. And those repetitions, that's that life experience that we're always talking about. Those are those life reps. Sometimes you have to feel failure 100,000 times before you gain the confidence to take greater and greater risks. So it's also a matter of perception, not only perseverance, but perception, to be able to see, to consider, to contextualize my failures as opportunities, as gifts, as progress, even when it doesn't feel like it. That's the key. So I love this metaphor of life checkpoints that Julian brought into my awareness. And I wanted to share it here on the podcast because I know that so many of us right now, I'm sure you're out there in your world and you've got some obstacle, some challenge you haven't figured out yet. It might be your personal finances. It might be relationship related. It might be your health, your fitness, your mindset, your spiritual relationship with God, the nature, whatever it is, that you haven't figured out how to get past that checkpoint. So let this land. As long as you persevere, as long as you're determined not to ever quit, then success is an inevitability. Your vision is an inevitability. As long as you can shift your perception towards every one of those failures as being an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to progress and gather more data, more information to help you on your next attempt, then there's no wasted time. It's a difficult mindset shift to get, I know. It's tough to wrap your mind around, but if you can start to see your life this way, if you can start to see every single one of those opportunities, every single one of those reps, every shot that you take as progress, then even if you slide back to a checkpoint, you'll be able to gather yourself, pick yourself up, and march towards that inevitable outcome once more. So let this message hit. I hope it lands, and I hope there's somebody else who needs to hear it that you will send this message to. Spin it around and give it to somebody who's going to take that and level it up in their life. You never know when you'll pass the thing along that somebody needed to hear. So thank you for always supporting the Rising Man podcast. Make sure you tune in next week for another Monday Morning Meditations. And until then, rise up and claim your destiny.